There's been a lot of words tossed around in this last little while about the weight of this decision, whether this is a turning point. Do you really see it that way, that this decision is critical to the very future of the Church?
I think that the pontificate of Benedict was a turning point, because when I reflect on what he did, his focus was on the essential, on basic questions. He spoke of God and of the relationship of man with God. Basically, he shifted the focus from ecclesiastical questions or moral questions to fundamental questions. This is maybe not a turning point, but an orientation that has to be followed for the future.
When we were in school in the early 60s, the Pope of that day, John 23, used to say, we got to open the windows up. We got to let the air in. We got to let new air in. And that led to Vatican II, the Second Vatican Council. Some people feel that we're at that kind of time again right now. Would you agree? I mean, is there a need for something like that, a Vatican III, something where the cardinals gather together and talk about a new era for this Church?
Yeah, I think that at this time, we need to listen carefully to each other. The cardinal in these next 15 days, and together, I think that we will see better what is the future of the Church and who can be the leader for this. When I was telling you about the focus on God and the relationship to God and so to Jesus Christ, so I am talking of new evangelization. Of convening, human beings to not to live as if God did not exist. This is a great drama of our times. To live without God, and so this is the awareness of the Church, and we have to respond to the need of people. They need the Creator. They need this relationship. It is vital, for family life, for social life, for fraternity, for peace.
Well, I guess what I was getting, and I think you've answered it for me, but let me just try it from a different tact. One of the things that was happening in those early 60s, there was dramatic change going on within the world, and especially in the West. Now, today, you have, kind of drifting apart of church teachings and social reality on a number of fronts. Now, the issue is, do these need to come back closer together, and how do you get them closer together? Does the Church have to change? Or do you have to bring people back to basics? And it seems to me what you're suggesting is the latter.
Yes.
No movement on some of the big social issues of our time, whether it's the role of women in church, gay marriage, abortion, celibacy of priests.
I think
no change there.
Yeah. Obviously, these questions have their importance, but it is secondary, and it has been always secondary. But it is always brought to the focus, by I would say by the atmosphere, by the society, and it has to be taken into account. I think on women, there is much more to do.
How far would you go in your thinking on that?
Yeah, I would not go to ordain ministry, for example, which is always the question that was raised often, even now.
But you would go for more power as such, more positions of power here in the Vatican.
Yeah, or so here, for example, you have some people that have more influence now, and it could be also further improved. But to acknowledge what is already done in the life of the Church, you know, go today and see in many dioceses, you have a majority of women working, you know, in the curia, in the different dioceses. You have many women working in key positions, even if they are not ordained. But this is open to further development. But we have to go, you know, with the time, and it is not easy to move forward. I think in Canada and the United States in general, so maybe we are ahead of the times. But we have
Who's
to.
the we in that case? The people or the church? The church is not ahead of the times, is it?
So the people and the church, even the church, because you know the concern for the question of women is there for many years, and it has been brought to the attention by Canadian bishops, by American also. Obviously, the discernment was done, and the discernment that was clear about the question of ordained ministry, and this has to be kept for the future. That's my conviction too.
When it gets down to it, especially in the developed world, not just North America, Europe as well, where the numbers have been dropping in terms of those who have been attending church, believe in church. What's more important, the numbers or ensuring that the basics of what you believe stay true? Are you willing to accept reducing numbers in the developed world, but maintaining the word as you see it?
It is not just a question of number. It is a question of responding to the need of the human heart that has been created in view of Jesus Christ, and who will find its meaning and deep identity in meeting with Him and loving Him. And that's what our message, because it does transform one's life.
You were obviously at the last conclave, and there are clearly rules set down about the secrecy, and I understand all that, but is there anything that you can share with us about what it was like in that room for those, that was what, 2 days? That last conclave?
Yeah, 1 day practically.
Right.
1 day, one complete day. Yeah, so I have lived the conclave as a deep spiritual experience, and I've seen there how much the College of Cardinals is free from political influence or even from media influence. And this gives great freedom for the choice. When I entered personally, I thought that Ratzinger, for example, had a very hard time to go beyond the public image that was created for 25 years. But he was elected in the end, you know, thanks to the freedom of the College of Cardinals.
You know, you once said, and I think it was jokingly, you once said, being the Pope, that's a nightmare to even think about that.
Yes,
were you joking, or?
Well, I was joking. I was joking, but at the same time, you know, after John Paul II and Pope Benedict and the very high profile of those pontiffs, so I think anyone in the College of Cardinals is very nervous about the succession.
You talked at that time about the crushing pressure of being Pope because of your proximity to both the last two popes. Do you fear pressure?
Oh, yes. And when I go to see the Pope and to work with him for 50 minutes or an hour, you know, a week, and I know that I am just one in the week. He has many other meetings with other people, and he has to make other decisions. So it is a very demanding role in the church.
You've never shied away from demanding roles within the church. When you say you fear the pressure, you don't fear it to the point where you'd say, "No, I can't do this."
You know. So we have to rely on the judgment of others. You know, nobody is a very good judge in his own case. So that's why I think that the cardinals must make a judgment about who is better prepared, you know, for this role at this time, and so you let the people decide, and if they decide on the one hand or the other, so you think if you are elected, so you will rely on God's grace, you know, and to fulfill the mission.
Cardinal, thank you so much for your time. You've been very generous with your time with us today, and
thank you.
And good luck in wherever life takes
Thank
you.
Thank you very much.